And we are live. Welcome everyone back to the Blackwood, here for yet another adventure. So this is the Mythic Gazetteer bringing the Blackwood setting to you in the Savage World system. This game is a part of the Nerds International network. That's Nerds International with a hyphen in the middle, from a bunch of fine folks. They have a home base over on Google Plus, and they're responsible for the Wild Die podcast and a lot of other fun shows that they do. Actual plays from people like Eric Lamoureux and The Gathering of Dorks, a conversational episodic thing that they have on YouTube. So check out a bunch of their shows, but thank you for tuning into ours as well. Now then, before we get started, there is another player in the group who runs a game of his own. That's Jeremy Lilly, who looks like he has just stepped away for a moment. But he runs a game in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons called Caldera, set in a fantasy Wild West of his own creation, inspired by the Sixth Gun graphic novels. And Derek and Alexander, who are both in the game here, also play in Caldera. And it's a ton of fun, so you should definitely tune in. You can follow him on his YouTube page, which is Erasmus Erno, E-R-A-S-M-A-S, space, no space, P-H-E-R-N-O. Anyway, so now let's get into the Blackwood. So when we last met, it was the first meeting after 2 months of time passing in the Blackwood. It is now the dead of winter. As a matter of fact, it is the 4th day of the month called the dead of winter. And our errant party has just left the city of Alton, where they had a run-in with the townsfolk because errants have not done much good for that village. But, you know, the next stopover is their destination, taking their caravan of crops and trade goods to the city of Denvorn, which is the seat of Denvorn province in the east of the Blackwood, or the Elder Kingdom anyway. So they have been riding through a bunch of snow recently. It snowed pretty heavily, and so as they come into Denvorn, they first approach the hedge of the entire town, and it's this huge 12-foot tall, 3 or 4 foot thick bramble, but a sculpted one. And unlike a lot of hedges in the Blackwood, this one is covered in yellow flowers, even in the dead of winter. And nobody in the party is really familiar with this sort of thing. It's a fairly new development, even for those of you who've been to Denvorn before. But anyway, you head through the hedge, and inside is pretty picturesque, actually. You've got this wide valley that stretches out, and it's all field. Obviously, the fields are sallow because it's the middle of the winter right now. But immediately to your left, you see the Hall of Classics kind of on the slope of the valley heading up toward the trees. It's where the classicists spend their time. They've got their library and their school there, and they kind of manage the farmland in this area. And then on the other side of the valley, about, you would estimate like an hour's walk away, there is the town of Denvorn itself, which rises up out of the forest on this big stone promontory. And the town itself is kind of built up along this promontory all the way up into the top, where you can see the castle Denvorn in the distance. There's also a village in the field called Maiden Village, and you are on your way to deliver your final goods to the marketplace in Denvorn proper. Now, Freelord Warren May is the commander, guard captain of this here caravan, and one of his right-hand men is named Toothsome Merklin, who is an unscrupulous fellow, let's call him. He's a wheeler and a dealer, and he helped Freelord May win this caravan by steaming it away from the Freelord's rival, a certain Dion Rainier. And Merklin,
I don't know what you're talking about. It was all above board.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, on paper it was, sure. Oh, actually, you know, before we get too far into this, let's introduce our characters really quick. So, Freelord May, why don't we go ahead and start with you?
I'm the perfectly above board and never does anything wrong lord of the caravan.
Very well.
And I'm a, I'm a lord, but all about having a good time.
Cool. Jan, you next.
Just going to say, you can tell he wants a good time because he's currently opening a bottle of wine. But I am
Trying to, anyway.
I'm Dirk. I'm playing Jan, son of Jan, the woodsman, or I forget what they're called, the woodfolk lumberjack, who has a wonderful companion pet dog. Wonderful.
All right, very well. Darkhood, let's do you next.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeremy. I go by Erasmus, kind of on the internet. I am playing Darkhood, who is an elf-marked archer, mainly. He kind of stays somewhat quiet, both in his attitude and in actually sneaking around. Dresses in dark clothing, keeps a hood and a mask up most of the time to hide the fact that he's elf-marked, and he makes pincushions out of things.
Wonderful.
Last
but not least, Sir Faulkner.
Sir Faulkner is an incredibly brave, wonderfully rich noble out to spread his wealth out a little bit and refound his village of Dunkelfluss, which has fallen on hard times, but he didn't usurp. He properly inherited his lands through murder of his father, who was evil.
Yes,
and now he's trying to rebuild.
I would estimate that 15 to 20% of that description was truthful. What was the element that was false, folks? Maybe you'll find out in the course of the game. Okay, so that's everyone. But, you know, Tooths of Merklin, he rode ahead of the caravan a little bit to kind of see what the lay of the city was like, see if they might be able to get good prices for the goods in their caravan, etc. And you can see him riding back kind of at a somewhat leisurely pace. He's not exactly taking his time, but, you know, he's not rushing either. And so he's approaching the group. But as this is happening, Sir Faulkner is dealing with a new acquisition of his. There is a little critter who is about, you know, maybe 2 feet long, kind of well insulated, but he's got these long, thin arms that kind of end in oddly human-like hands. It's called a red bear. It's a nice burnt reddish orange color. It's got rings on its tail. It's got this little black mask that people often cause themselves, or that causes people to often associate it with trickery and thievery. Of course, that's also due to the red bear's notorious hoarding instinct. They hoard all kinds of stuff. They love it. They're a real pain in the ass for a lot of caravan drivers. By the way, this show can be explicit. You've been warned. Ass. So,
did we ever
yes,
decide
this red
how
bear,
explicit?
Do what?
Did we ever decide how explicit?
Let's say
I'm just
a
giving you a
solid
hard time.
PG-13.
NC-17.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a penis joke several episodes ago, but
Yeah, I think that falls into, let's say PG-13. Nothing
Okay.
explicit. We'll fade to black with some soft music if anything goes down. So anyway, yeah, like I said, Sir Faulkner is playing with this red bear who's kind of like, can't decide if it wants to be perched on his shoulder or like perched on the horse's neck or, you know, like scurrying around on the ground next to it or something. But it's this surprisingly limber little creature. And Sir Faulkner, why don't you tell us how you got this? And just a moment, we'll make this an interlude, and so I can give you a circumstance under which you came to possess this thing. All right, so I drew a spade, which means that it is a story of victory.
All right. So I was just going to check on my wares, mostly because I was hungry and I was going to eat some of my wares. And I go back and I look, and there's this little furry thing. At first I'm like, what the heck? And then it turns and looks at me, and I jump back out of whatever the opposite of terror is.
Bravery.
Bravery. I jump back out of bravery, but then I decide to collect myself, and I say, it's okay. It's just a little red bear. It's fine. And I approach it, and I kind of talk to it a little bit and say, stealing from an unguarded caravan, that's nothing. And I gesture it over, and it comes over because I've got a way with animals. And I point over and I say, see that lumberjack eating bread? Steal his bread and bring it back to me. And then you'll be a good thief. And of course he does. He goes off and steals Jan's bread right out of his hands and runs over to me, and I laugh a lot.
Jan, how do you imagine you would have reacted to this?
Jan laughs uproariously, but Mutt, being the good dog and faithful companion that he is, chases after this thief that stole the bread and just barks, runs around it in circles and barks, but apparently it doesn't fear Mutt at all.
Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy because at one point Mutt even kind of lunges after it to kind of playfully nip at it and totally misses this little guy. This dude must be just super slick. He can get away from Mutt. Okay, so so that's what's going on. Sir Faulkner, that was nice. I'll give you a Benny for that one, which I think brings your total up to 4. And all right, so Merklin finally arrives at the caravan, and his face is somewhat grave as he approaches Free Lord May.
As he approaches, though, Jan yells out, "Get down from there, boy! Leave the man be."
I'll give you a Benny for that. All right, so Toothed Merklin comes up and he says, "Well, my lord, I looked ahead like you had suggested."
Of course.
It's not great in the town. You know what? Actually, I think you probably just better come see it for yourself.
Okay. Lead the way.
So, you all head into the town, and so basically what this looks like, it takes you, about half an hour to cross the field in these snowdrifts and everything that have kind of been pushed out of the way by previous wagon wheels.
Since Jan is from this area, though, he graciously points out every tree he recognizes to Sir Faulkner.
Sounds good.
I want to know, do any of them have names?
The trees?
I'm going to interject. I mean, if Jan is such a good lumberjack, why are there so many trees still up in the air?
Well,
Because he's a good lumberjack.
He'll point out some tree stumps that he chopped down the trees as well.
Good lumberjacks don't chop down all the trees. Come on. Renewable lumberjacking.
He also points out the tree that he first met Darkhood hiding out in.
Nice.
What is
I was strategically perched.
I think maybe Darkhood should explain why he was up in a tree.
Like I said, I was strategically perched so that I could get a good vantage point to kill all of those imps.
Wait, is this strategically perched in the opposite of terror?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Terror sticks to the much lower branches of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
We were
That's
much higher than
noble of you.
And he certainly wasn't stranded in the tree. That
Absolutely
not
not.
at all. Yeah.
Nope.
So,
Not even a little.
yeah, so you headed... All right, so you head into the city, and you go through these big stone gateways. And the first part of the town is a lot more crowded than your average town. The buildings kind of are cantilevered out over the street, and there are a lot of people kind of milling about. A lot of them look like they've seen much better days, many refugees and that sort of thing. And then eventually you come into the second part of the city, which is more elevated. It's higher up on that promontory. And these buildings, not only are they featuring a lot more stone construction instead of wood, but they're also a little bigger, a little nicer, and a little more spread out too. Eventually,
it's about time. We're home.
eventually, you head into the market square, and you can hear people bustling around, that sort of thing. There's a big stone with this beautiful colored glass all over it on one side. And near the center of the market, there's a guy who is crying out. You would recognize him as a crier who sometimes go from town to town with news and that sort of thing. And as you approach, you kind of come into the middle of his spiel. And he says, "Yes, people of Denvorn, good townsfolk, let me tell you of the deeds of this foul man who consorts with outlaws, and who, not even 3 moons past, was responsible for the slaughter of an entire village. Yes, the foul Free Lord Warren May and his companions. Let me speak to you of their awful dealings."
I very quickly distance myself from everyone.
Wait, hold on. Three moons? Has it only been 3 moons since we did that? Oh.
Yeah, right. Not very long. He says he travels.
Are we close enough that I can interrupt him?
You're getting closer. You'll be able to after this next line.
Okay.
So he says, yes, he consorts with idle lords, cowards to the core, and not only that, but also with backwards bumpkins as crazy as any elf, and a friend of pagans, elf-marked scum, he counts among his companions. Yes, let me tell you, the Free Lord Warren May, and at this point you approach close enough that you can.
Jan would yell out, "What is that you said?"
He kind of looks out to the crowd, and then he goes
And
back.
I mean, Jan is standing up on top of the wagon now, like as high as he can get.
Okay, and you're not a small man.
No, he's not. But it's cool because he's not the only one who isn't hiding. I'm not hiding either.
All right, sounds good.
I'm
so yeah,
strategically positioned to flank.
you're strategically positioned to flank. Okay, sounds good. Is there a post near him? Yeah, there's a scaffolding that is kind of, he's standing on this platform, and so he's maybe 5 feet above the crowd, and there are some posts that are around the edge of the scaffolding.
Darkwood sinks an arrow into one of the posts that's closest to him.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, God.
Give me a shooting check.
All right.
As he's doing that, Jan yells out, "Why do you call my good friend Darkwood a bumpkin and crazy?"
You can have a penny for that, too.
Bunch of savages in this town.
Ooh.
All right.
17.
17. Wow. Yeah. So you managed to sink that arrow right into a post, but it
you
actually
showed that post to his boss.
Yeah. It hits the post and actually comes out the other side of it a little bit too. And the guy jumps back and he looks out, and then at the same time the crowd kind of turns to see where he's looking, and you hear a few people be like, "Oh, it's Jan and Darkwood returned after these many months," and then some other people, "Well, who are they with?" And then the crier, "Ah, yes, the scum himself, Free Lord Warren May, here to..."
Hey now, hey, I'll take a lot, but I'm not scum.
Not scum, eh? So why don't you make let's call it either
Persuasion?
a persuasion or an intimidate. Yeah.
Take that, you bastard. I'll take a lot of insults, truthful and not, but I'm not scum. Ho-ho! 17. Take that, you bastard.
2 17s. Wow, that's crazy. All right, well, I got a 4, so you definitely beat him. So after your comment, he looks at you and he opens his mouth. And then he kind of shakes himself up.
I'm not debating most of what he said, but I'm not scum.
Very well.
How close are we now?
I would say you're within 20 feet.
I will tell I will motion to Darkwood to calm down, yo. We're civilized people here.
I would like to try to I would try to leaf step over to him.
Okay, go ahead and give me an agility check then.
Who's not calm?
5.
5, okay. So that is a success, but it's not with a raise. So let's say you can use leaf step for this round. But you are able to get up there.
Yeah. So I jump, I leap from the top of the goods in the wagon and do a flip in the air. And actually, I'm going to land on the post that Darkhood shot. And I'm just going to glare down at this guy.
Awesome. Okay. So he kind of like stumbles backwards and he says, and he kind of looks away and looks back at Warren and he says, I come with a proclamation for you. Come up here if you would accept it.
I would love to hear your proclamation. I have a counter proposal. You give it to me. Is there a tavern nearby? Not a low-class joint, but something worthwhile.
Yeah, this is the more affluent part of town, and so there are nicer taverns in this area, and there's one on the square too.
Okay. Let's go to a tavern, and you can tell me everything you need to tell me.
He says, I have nothing to tell you that's not already written in this letter, and he pulls out a scroll, and he's got a little package that's with it. It's silk, then it's bound by silken thread. He says, come here and take it.
What if I have questions for you?
Actually, Jan wants to jump down and take it.
Okay. He doesn't resist. He's like, oh no, and he kind of drops or fumbles the stuff.
And so Jan kind of holds it up. He's holding it upside down at first. He realizes it though.
He actually opens the scroll?
Is there a Blackwood equivalent to facepalm? Is it just the same thing?
I think facepalm is appropriate.
I'm gonna walk back to the caravan and I'm gonna grab one of those bottles of wine that I've got stashed away, and I'm gonna open it.
Okay. And then Jan, what are you doing? You're reading it up there?
I'm reading it silently to myself, but when Jan reads, he silently says the words, so he's moving his lips as
he
he's reading.
He silently says the words out loud.
Yeah.
It's only got 4 words written on it. And
fuck you, woman, May.
I'm walking back up to the thing. Probably.
It only says, get ready, old friend.
Jan says to the guy, he doesn't read the message out loud, he just says to the crier guy, I'm not your friend.
He says, he looks at you, it's not for you. It's not for you.
I have it, what do you mean it's not for me?
Warren, did you say you were approaching?
Yeah.
Okay, you've absolutely
Didn't you say something? I just look at the crier. Didn't you say something about crazy people earlier?
What? And he looks up at Jan. It's almost like he understands what it means.
Okay.
and he doesn't say anything more.
Though seriously, I mean, I'm interested to know how you found out about our exploits. I mean, the only people at that town, well, they're in the ground.
Are you,
I'm not shouting, but I'm not,
Okay, but are you looking at the scroll or anything in Jan's possession?
Well, I'm headed back up that general direction, but I imagine I'm too far away to read it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, if you're at the place with the crier, then you're with Jan too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So Jan, do you give him the stuff, or are you holding on to it?
Well, if Warren reaches for it, I will hand it to him.
I'll see what was written down.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, you notice that the scroll is sealed. The seal is broken, but it was the seal of the Rainier family.
Okay.
And on the parchment, it just says, "Get ready, old friend." And the package that came with it is, it's maybe about the size of your palm, and you know exactly what it is.
Okay. I look around, just glance around.
The black spot.
The game is afoot.
Do you open the package?
You wrote the black spot on a page of the Holy Bible.
Do you open the package, though?
I will open the package.
Okay. So inside there is a golden medallion. There is an inscription upon the medallion that says, "He who dares." And the medallion is suspended on a golden chain. And you know exactly what this is.
You know what's really funny?
What?
What the background of my computer is?
He who dares?
No, just the slogan of the SAS, "Who dares wins."
Nice. You know, I may or may not have noticed that in your email signature. But anyway.
Here we go. I will flip it over to Toothsome and tell him to be ready.
You'll flip what over?
The coin.
Oh, no, it's a medallion.
Well, yeah, the medallion. I'll flip it over to him, given that, he would have been given instructions to leave that in the area after we picked up the caravan.
So you think Toothsome Merklin was implicated in it, you mean?
No, I'm saying, I gave it to Toothsome when I told him to go grab the caravan out of Rainier's.
Right. Okay.
So.
Well, you also
he would have a vague idea as to what's going on.
Right. You're also really familiar with this medallion. It's called Fortune's Favor. And in metagame terms, for an entire session, you can pick a non-combat skill, and you will get a +2 to that skill for the entire session.
Oh. Okay.
And you have
non-combat?
To do what?
You said non-combat?
Right. However, there's a stipulation. As a matter of honor, you can only wear it whenever you are in active contest against Dion. So whenever this is over, you've got to put it away until you decide to give it back to him.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do I need to pick the +2 now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to put it in persuasion.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so this is going on. Is anybody doing anything in particular right now?
While the guy is paying attention to Warren, Jan just bursts out laughing and says, I guess you don't smell too good. And of course this is because Mutt came up behind him and kind of smelled him and then shied away.
Awesome. So, as this is all going on,
I'm going to. Is the crier still around?
Yeah, he's still there.
I'm gonna give him 5 silver pieces. And
he kind of looks at you.
Get him to be on his way.
He looks at you confused, and he just doesn't even say anything. He just kind of scurries off of the platform and runs away into the crowd.
Jan yells after him.
Talk to him.
What was that, Sir Faulkner?
I want to actually talk to the crier.
Okay, yeah, you can follow him.
Go follow him later and talk to him when you're done with this part.
Okay, well, as he scurries away, you're going to yell after him. If you want to be my friend, you can give me that silver.
Yeah, well, he scurries off into the crowd, and Sir Faulkner, you notice that he actually passes really close to you. And he seems to be just, heading off in no direction in particular. He doesn't look like he's heading toward, the tavern or anything like that.
Well, I get in his path and I just hold up my hand and I say, "Ho, friend."
Who? Oh, you're one of the Freelord May's companions, aren't you?
No, not at all. I just knew nothing about him and hired him to bring my goods here so that I could give it out to the poor.
What? But doesn't that make you his companion?
No, that...
It makes you my customer!
I hired him not knowing anything about him. We're not...
No, I see how it is.
Well, look, would you like another job? Because I have use for a crier.
Are you sure you want to hire me? I just said some pretty awful things about you.
No, you said awful things about that guy I don't even know.
You were the cowardly idle lord, I presume.
What?
Faulkner making a scene.
I am trembling with both anger and a slight amount of fear. And I say,
Awesome.
That's not even true.
He kind of looks at you and then he moves away into the crowd. But I'll give you a penny for that.
God damn it, now I gotta find a different crier.
However, as this is going on, a figure starts to cry out from the crowd, "Move! Out of the way! Make way! Make way!" And you notice that there are a few guards that are kind of shoving people out of the way as the crowd parts. And then a figure in the middle of the guard steps out. And this guy is shorter. He's very finely dressed, and he has a chain of office around his neck that denotes him as the captain of the guard. Jan and Darkhood are familiar with this guy. He is Captain Errant. And they know him to be a drunkard and a layabout, for the most part.
I was going to say, didn't we get this guy ousted?
Oh, well... Did
Not
you get him
successfully.
I don't remember. I thought
This
we
is
at
a little
least
bit-
tried to.
This is a little bit of an alternate timeline. Some things are
Sure,
the same
yeah.
and some things are different.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
All right.
I'll do it again.
By the way, sounds great. So he walks over and he says, heroes. It's always too early in the day for you saps.
Isn't it always too early in the day for you?
Excuse me, Darkhood?
I was just commenting on how early you like to get started in the day.
Yeah, and when the captain speaks, Jan kind of goes back like, whoo, because of the alcohol on the guy's breath.
Oh, God. I'm going to look and find Tooths and be like, okay, let's get this caravan, parked.
Okay. Well, Arndt looks at Darkhood and he says, "Secret's out to the whole town now, thanks to that crier. It's quite a mouthful of teeth you got there. I notice you're keeping it covered these days."
Yeah, it's the secret that you like to put on your wife's clothes at night.
"Oh!" he says, and he throws his arms in the air. "This is beside the point. Free Lord Warren May. The Lord Denvorn wants to have a word with you. Where are you?"
Oh, God. Yep.
"You may come with me peacefully or by force." And at this point, the guards.
I'm going to
rustle their
recommend we
shields.
travel together. Why don't you have a drink? And I hold out the bottle of wine.
Oh! This is an excellent vintage, too, from High Hall. Oh.
I know. That's why I bought it. Mm.
He just sniffs the bottle. Doesn't actually do any good, but he tries to sniff out the whole of the bottle. He's like, "Oh, yes," and he double fists it. Gets a big old gulp in there. "This is a fine vintage." Wait, come with me. We have to talk to the Lord Denvorn.
Let's go. I'm not trying to get out of it. Let's go. But, we should travel as companions, not as foes.
Perhaps there is wisdom in what you say. And so, Sir Faulkner, you're not with him right now. Are you going to be going with him or staying on your own?
At this point, I will navigate my horse forward, and people will tend to not want to be run over by horses. So I'll make my way up to the castle with them.
Okay, sounds good.
But I'm also going to ride my horse the whole way.
Sounds good. And then Toothsome Merklin looks at Free Lord May, and he says, "Hey, don't you worry. I'll get it all taken care of. I got this under control. I'll get
Excellent.
the caravan all unloaded and everything. It'll be great." So you guys make your way up to the Castle Denvorn, which means that you leave the nicer quarter of the town and you enter the extremely nice quarter of the town. This is the noble quarter. And whereas the first quarter was, really cramped wooden houses, and then this one is kind of well-aired stone and wood. By the time you get to the noble place, it's not even like shops anymore. It's all estates, compounds, in fact. And they're all made out of really fine wood and occasionally some really, really great stonework. That you would guess that maybe 6 or 7 noble families live up here, despite the fact that it's about the same size as both of the other quarters individually. And then looming up overhead is, on the highest part of the promontory, the castle itself, which is this huge conglomeration of stone towers and keeps and things like that. And so he leads you up the ramp, I guess. Yeah. He leads you up the ramp and takes you through the gate into the castle, and you are ushered into the hall of the Lord Denvorn. And this man, he's not all that much older than any of you. He's only in his early to mid-30s, a little bit younger than you might expect of a lord, but he still manages to comport himself with an air of dignity. So he comes up to you and he says, well, he doesn't come up to you. You come up to him. And he says, you are the Free Lord Warren May, are you not?
I think Andrew left the room for a minute.
Oh, I believe nature called.
I see. Okay. Well, at any rate, we can move on. And you, Sir Diedrich Schwarzbach, from what I am told.
I'd say hello in the appropriate noble fashion.
Sounds good. He regards you and says, well met.
Well met, sir. You have a fine keep here.
Yes. And I believe you bring goods to our town?
I bring both goods for sale and charity.
Well, I admit, you travel in not unwelcome company. And he looks at Jan and Darkhood and says, hello, gentlemen.
Jan says, hello!
Hello again.
I trust the months between our last meeting have gone well for the two of you.
Ran into a spot of trouble when I left the province, but I got my axe back. And he holds up his axe.
Very nice.
Things have been well enough, aside from our welcome here.
Yes, it seems things have taken a somewhat foul turn for you lately.
He shoots his eyes towards Arndt if he's still in the room.
Yeah. Arndt is standing in the back of the room. Well, standing is generous. He's leaning against a column in the back of the room.
Sure.
He managed to keep the wine bottle, though. He neglected to give it back to the Free Lord.
Do I see him leaning against a pillar?
Yes, yeah.
I will look at him and say, stand up straight, soldier.
What? And he stands up and kind of like starts to salute and realizes he's got a bottle in his hand, and then he realizes who said that to him, and he takes a little bit of a different tone. But he does stand up straight. And then he says, "Oh, sorry. Go ahead."
No, I was going to interrupt the Free Lord, or Lord Denvorn, before he spoke again. But
go ahead. I was about to make him speak.
Oh, okay. Jan's going to ask him if, did you ever catch the Mistress Lumberjack? Referring to, I forget her name, but the gal that murdered people.
Yeah, Verena Elma.
Verena Elma.
He says, no, she was never apprehended. We suspect she either fled the province or she was claimed by the Blackwood.
Ah, I see. You guys can't get anything done when we leave.
He narrows his eyes at you.
Face palming for the third time this session.
Jan doesn't see that because at that time Mutt does particularly cute for a dog, and Jan looks down and laughs.
Sounds good.
It's okay. You guys probably think it's my personal quirk. Oh, God.
All right. So, at this point, we're going to conduct a social conflict. And so, the Lord Denvorn is going to look at Warren and say, Free Lord May, I don't believe I've seen you in this province before.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Well, I don't know that you should consider it pleasure just yet. From what I understand, you and your companions, perhaps not the ones with you now, but at least a few months ago, are responsible for the slaughter of a village. And I'm going to go ahead and make my check. So I got a 9. And he's going to say, well, I don't know that that kind of butchery is welcome in my province.
I'm just going to respond. Just going to look up at him, roll my persuasion. 8. 12 plus 2, 14.
Wow.
So, you like elves?
No. Elves are the natural enemy of order in the Blackwood, of the Elder Kingdom itself.
So, on one hand, you don't want me to kill our enemy, but on the other hand, you admit they're our enemy. I'm confused. It was a village taken over by an elf. We avenged the spirits of their ancestors. We did this with the help of ghosts.
The ancestors came to your aid to drive out an elf from a ruined village?
Yeah?
Yep. Jan pipes in, and Broken Tusk.
That was different.
Broken Tusk. That was the boar or the troll, right?
Yeah, he was helping the pagan.
That's right. Okay, so I rolled a 9, and you said you rolled a 14?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a success, just a regular success without a raise. So far you're up 1.
Okay.
And then he says, perhaps what you say is true, but the Blackwood is full of corrupt nobles these days, and those accusations have been leveled against you as well. From what I hear, you have stolen a caravan from a rival lord for no other reason than to cause him displeasure. This is not honorable, and I do not believe it should stand. I'm going to make my persuasion, and I'm going to spend a penny and roll again. And I got a 5 total. Sorry, I'm forgetting to apply my charisma bonus, so I actually have a 7.
Oh, shoot, I forgot that too.
What is your charisma modifier?
Plus 2.
Okay, yeah, then we don't need to modify the last one either.
With noble.
Yeah.
So...
That's plus 2 as well.
I'm confused. I mean, you know, it was purchased at auction. And I have a 11.
11?
Yes.
All right, so that is still a success, but not quite with a
hold on.
raise.
Are we still adding the plus 2 for charismas, or are we just negating that and not worrying about it?
No, go ahead and factor it in. I
Okay.
factored it in.
Then 11.
11?
11 is correct.
And I got a 7 total. Sir Faulkner looks like he's itching to say something at this point. So,
Isn't that with a raise? You got a 7, you got an 11?
oh, I guess it is. And you know what? I guess the first one would have been 2 because I rolled a 9 and he rolled a 14. So right now you're up by 4. So he says.
That's great, I am.
So he says, well, and Sir Faulkner, you'll be able to contribute to this final round, okay?
I just wanted to reply to the thing about the caravan.
Oh, okay, yeah, then go ahead and do that.
He just says, so far, all I've seen Warren May do, I know nothing of the man besides he escorted my goods to a village in great poverty, purchased some of my goods, and distributed freely to the people. I don't believe he is a corrupt noble.
You don't believe so? Well, I do not know your character.
Well, let's not go that
Sir
far.
Schwarzbach. But I suppose among the nobility we should consider one another honorable until we have reason to believe otherwise. But
Oh God!
I am not finished, Freelord.
Am I going to walk out of here with a positive reputation? I don't think my character could stand it.
Freelord May, perhaps you are not corrupt, but these are hard times, and if rumors are to be believed, you, even in the face of such hardship, even when the common folk suffer so greatly, you have deigned to continue living a life of luxury, buying only the finest things. And, of course, in the words of our ancestors and the words of Arunial, the unified god, this is an impropriety. I am not certain that I can vouch for your character. I'm going to spend another penny. Sorry.
Out of character, isn't Aruniel somebody that, you know, isn't necessarily looked up to in the Blackwood?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange that this noble is making mention of Aruniel. he's a Widelander god, and he is, making a foothold in the Blackwood. For example, there's a very nice celebration in the marketplace that looks like.
And maybe an herbalist in our caravan that
Right. Yeah. She may very well be unified. She may not. Chances are, if she's a Widelander, then she is.
Okay.
And so for the second one, I spent another Benny and I rolled a 10, so I'm going to re-roll that. And I got 13 total on this final point.
13 to 9.
And you got a 9?
Hold on. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll take it. Look, yeah, I like nice things, but I try to make sure that those around me also share in those nice things. Hence, said feast.
All right. So you were up 4 in the social conflict, and
he's kind of got me dead to rights there. Yes,
right.
I like nice things. Like, yeah, here I am drinking an expensive bottle of wine.
Right. And he's got you with a success and a raise this time, so he would whittle you down to having just 2 advantage over him.
Yeah.
And he says, well, at the last, I cannot be certain of your character, for the temptation for finer things can be symptomatic of deeper, more unforgivable transgressions. But, as I said to Sir Schwarzbach, I have no proof of any wrongdoing that you have done, and what I offered as evidence you disproved to my satisfaction. I do not welcome you to this city, but I will tolerate your presence. Darkhood asked, what is this guy wearing? He's wearing the trappings of nobility, and more so than anyone you've seen. So I think Sir Faulkner and Freelord May both travel in somewhat regular apparel. Isn't that right?
If by regular you mean isn't darned to heck, yes.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've got a cloak that is more commoner for when I want to look that way, but I mean, no, I'm the owner of a caravan. I have to look the part.
Okay, gotcha.
So, Darkwood is going to walk up beside this guy and kind of put his boot down next to him and kind of compare the two and hold his boot up and kind of rub the worn spot on the sole of his boot, and then use the bottom of his bow to tap the nobleman's boot and say, yes, nicer things.
Oh, man. So, as you do that,
So I had one, but now...
Huh?
Well, as you do that, the guards in the room immediately snap to attention and start scrutinizing you as you walk up to the Lord. But then the Lord waves them off.
They probably would have disarmed us before we came in here anyway. Well,
yeah.
Disarmed the rest of them anyway.
Right. That makes sense. Except for Jan, because I think Jan showed him his axe. It's a tool. It's not a weapon. Come on. Anyway. Yeah, but he allows Darkhood to approach, and he allows him to do this whole thing, but then the look that he gives him whenever he says nicer things, he says, I am a lord of this town, and you know what I do for this town. You know the wealth that I dole out. You know the taxes that I barely collect. You know the food that I distribute as often as I can. Yes, I have to keep up appearances because I play the game on the kingdom-wide stage.
Yeah, Darkhood just kind of shrugs like, hey, man, you don't, whatever makes you sleep at night.
The Lord looks at you and he says, watch your tone.
Jan says, a good drink and a good woman help me sleep well at night.
I'm going to try and step in and be like, look, everybody, calm down. Yes, I like the nicer things. It may not be the best part of my character, but it is part of who I am. And can you honestly remember the last time you saw me eating hardtack? It hasn't happened this campaign at all.
It's true. It's true.
Jan, trying to be helpful, says, "Oh, I know where you can get the nice horse."
Oh, God. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and give Darkhood and Jan a Benny each for having terrible etiquette in the presence of nobles. That's playing to your social class for sure. And then I'm going to give...
ask, like, before we leave, I'm going to beseech the Lord to allow me to prove my character.
That's fine, but I'm really quickly. I'm also going to give you a Benny for comporting yourself like a nobleman around him too. So, you're asking him for an opportunity to prove your character. You said.
I mean, he said he's not going to welcome me into the town, and I perfectly accept that, given what's been said.
Mm-hmm.
The lies, or the mistruths, completely understandable. Though I do want to know how somebody found out about the town. That would be great to know, because they're all dead.
Well, the caravan drivers are not.
Okay. Oh. I don't remember any of those. Oh, right.
Dion has his own ways of gathering information.
Well done. The caravan riders. Okay. Lou said, well known.
Mm-hmm.
His little birds.
No, just, okay, understand. Just, give me the leeway that you would give any other noble to prove that I am a good person.
If you are, in fact, a good person.
But I'm,
If you are, in fact, a good person, I look forward to you proving it. You are dismissed.
Challenge accepted.
And at this point,
I bow and back out graciously.
Ah, great. Yeah, the Freelord doesn't. The Freelord acknowledges it. He kind of glares at Jan and Darkhood.
Jan tries to imitate what Warren did. It doesn't look so good though.
That sounds good.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like anything the crier said was false.
I mean,
well, he called me a coward, so.
Okay.
And he called Darkhood crazy.
Out of character. It's not like anything the town crier said was false.
Right. So, the Freelord turns to leave, but Jan and Darkhood, after he glared at you...
I don't turn. I back out, without showing my back.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was the Lord turns to leave.
Okay.
Lord Denvorn. And he glares at Jan and Darkhood, but as he's turning, you can see that the glare kind of turns into this little bit of a half smile, and he kind of shakes his head. You get the impression that you maybe shared a couple of pints with this guy before, and under other circumstances, you might have a much different encounter, acting the exact same way. But, Sir Faulkner, did you have something you wanted to say?
I assume at some point in time I could have interjected that I look forward to dining with you later, and as an implication that I plan on doing it, and being, incredibly wealthy, I expect him to let me eat with him.
Okay. Yeah, as he's walking away, you have the opportunity to say this after him. He kind of waves you off. And it's not totally dismissive, but it's definitely the sort of thing where you realize you're going to have to wait and see. Like Freelord May said that he wants the opportunity to prove himself, and probably it's not going to happen before then.
Also, maybe sort of, he's a lot more richer than you are. You may be very rich, but he's very, 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 very rich.
Yeah. Well, he's like very rich with legendary rank to accumulate all the wealth too.
Well, that still doesn't diminish myself as a very well-known noble.
Exactly. Yeah. You could easily buy your way into a dinner here, but before you are eligible to buy your way into a dinner, you'll have to prove yourself. So, you guys are issued out of the castle, and then taken back to the upper market area. You're removed from the noble quarter, or escorted out, not really removed. And then you're basically cut loose. So what would you guys like to do?
Is there a blacksmith?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Particularly, is there a blacksmith in the noble quarter?
That is something you would need to do a streetwise check to find out.
I mean, I don't have that, but I could try to help him.
4. I'll roll with Benny if I have to, or I'll roll again if I have to.
4? That's a success, though. And Jan, if you want to do a streetwise check to help out too, like you could add +2 to his result.
Okay.
It would make sense because you know, and you don't have the skill, do you?
No.
Because you're familiar with the area, I'll negate the -2 penalty.
Oh, great.
D4.
I got it too.
Okay. Well, you know, it's not too surprising though, because
Yeah,
you
it doesn't
really
go up there much.
no, ever even. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been issued
7
to the castle a
with
few
feedback.
times, but you've never chilled out.
Yeah.
I'll talk it over with Jan and spend a Benny, and I got a 7.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a little bit more of a success, not enough to have a raise, but still, you know that there is a noble family who is notable for having like a smithy guild that they are a part of. They don't have a branch here in town, but they are part of the guild whenever they travel abroad. But you're not sure which one it is. So that'll take a little more investigation.
Okay.
And while I'm talking to you, how many bennies do you have right now? I know you've spent a few, but I haven't been keeping track.
Right now I think I've got 4, because I want to say I've only spent 1 so far.
Okay.
And you
yeah,
gave
yeah.
me 1.
And some other people spent bennies too, though, right? Maybe not?
I haven't.
Okay, never mind. So then, it's mid-afternoon at this point. It's approaching evening, about dinner time, maybe like an hour or two before. Does anybody have anything they want to do before we fast forward to dinner and finding lodgings for the night?
Yeah, one thing. I would need to find a crier. Well, actually, I guess 2 things. But the first is find a crier.
Mm-hmm.
When he says, if he tells them that he needs to find a crier, Jan misunderstands and says, "Well, I knew a classic Kiss guy that cries."
And misunderstanding him, I'd say, great! Do you know where he is?
Jan points to the Hall of Classicus, which is miles away.
Yeah. But you can see it from up here.
Closer.
From up here in the upper market, it's actually a really stunning view of the valley down below, and so you can see all the fields and the Hall of Classics off in the distance and the village down in the valley as well. Yeah, and absolutely, Jan, you get a Benny for that, and I believe that puts you at the max.
I think I have 7 right now, so I don't think I can have more.
Okay. Well, shucks, too bad. So you need to find a crier. There are
Yes, I do.
there are a few criers that are kind of scattered around the upper market, and you know that you saw some in the lower market on the way into town as well. So you could afford, like, there are several that you could hire.
Well, I will hire several.
Okay. Let's call it
I mean,
2 silver pieces per crier, and you can hire up to 8.
I will hire 5.
5? Okay, so that'll be 10 silver pieces. And so what do you want them to cry?
Just that those who are looking for a better life should meet at some good meeting place. I'm sure I scoped one out, where there will be free bread and an opportunity to learn about lots of employment.
You do have a caravan that you've hired
Right.
in terms of meeting places.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know
so
if a caravan's a good meeting place.
the caravan is probably going to be getting unloaded over by the warehouses that are in the upper market. And you could also, like, you could definitely make an announcement here in the upper market, or you could do it down in the lower market. You've noticed that there seem to be a lot more refugees just kind of
Are
ambling
we a
about.
rich enough caravan to be unpacking in the upper market?
Yeah.
I mean,
the
we only
goods-
have a couple, like, we've got a cook and an herbalist. I mean, we're not exactly...
Well, I think normally your caravan would probably not be affluent enough to be able to sell up here, sell stuff up in the upper market, but at least part of it is Sir Faulkner's goods, and I imagine those are really high quality foods and things like that, since the soil of his homeland is really fertile.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want my announcement to be where all the poor people are, because they're my target audience.
Sounds good. I was going to say, yeah, there are some beggars that are up here in the upper market, but for the most part, they're relegated down to the lower market. And so what we can say then is that the caravan is being unloaded up here to get rid of the good stuff first, and then you can all take the stuff down to the lower market and make your announcement down there.
And then it'll actually it'll drop off goods at the upper market, and then it'll actually set up in the lower market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then, so we can do that, and Jan and Darkhood, I see you guys are asking about some stuff. There is the tavern down in the lower market called the Firecat, and just across the marketplace from there is the Old Master, is what it's called. Yeah. Okay, so Darkhood, you said that you had something you wanted to do?
Yes, he is actually going to head to the Old Master, and he is going to buy Iron Bear a pint.
Okay.
And the only real explanation that he's going to give him is that it seems like honor is a little in short order today in Denvorn.
Ah, okay. All right, so first of all, you approach the Old Master, and there are two guards at the door, two errants that are kind of leaning up against the door frame. And they stop you and say, "Who goes there?"
Do I recognize either of them?
You do not.
Okay. I'm going to say that I go by Darkhood. I'm here to see Iron Bear.
Iron Bear. You said your name was Darkhood?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine why.
Taps the hem of his hood.
Yeah, he rolls his eyes at you.
Bunch of savages in this town.
And he says, "Your type looks like it might be a little more comfortable over at the Firecat across the way."
You know, I've been told that once before, and the last man that told me that ended up on the ground right there, and I point to the spot where we had the scuffle in the street.
All right. He looks over at the spot and he says, "Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyone who's a true friend of Iron Bear would know that he died 2 months ago."
I've been in the wood, so I had not heard that.
And no one sent word to you?
Nope. How much does a pint usually cost?
Let's say, well, I mean, silver is the smallest denomination I'm comfortable working in, so let's say it's a silver piece.
Okay. I'm going to hand him a silver piece, and I'm going to say, "Tonight, there's a tankard for Iron Bear on the table."
He looks at it, and he's kind of confused because he really didn't picture you being the honorable type. And he says, "Well, I suppose not all is wrong with you, despite your insistence that you comport yourself with anonymity, errant. At any rate..."
He kind of scoffs.
And then he says, "At any rate, we will place in a tankard on the countertop. He was a mighty hero, fell in battle, for what it's worth, against an outlaw gang that swept through."
That's the way he would have liked it.
Yes.
And he'll turn and head to the Firecat.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, as you head to the Firecat, the caravan is pulling into the lower market. And Warren, how do you want to go about selling things? There are like storefronts that are along the edges of the marketplace, but then there are also a lot of stalls and tents and things that are set up inside.
All we've really got are stalls, and the only two we've got Iron Ladle, who's a wonderful chef, but I don't necessarily want to take too much business away from the other people around here. And then we've got Darkhood's girlfriend, who's an herbalist.
Okay. Well, you notice that there are a few people that are selling food in the area, but you also notice that people seem to be pretty well satisfied with that food. However, there are a lot of beggars and paupers that are living in the alleyways.
I would also like to interject that some of it is fancy enough it would be sold to the nobles.
Right. And I imagine like your stuff got unloaded in the upper marketplace already, so we're just dealing with
Oh, I'd say Iron Waddle's good enough to cook for the nobles, but that's not necessary.
Okay, gotcha.
He's good enough to cook for me. Have we had a chance to replenish our stocks in terms of noble money?
Yeah, there is a bank in town, so you can go make a withdrawal sometime today.
Okay.
You can just see where I made it.
Then I'll drop another 200 silver pieces on food for the commoners and the beggars.
I'm trying to remember. I think Jan left a silver piece at the bank in High Hall. He will try to withdraw. He will try to withdraw that silver from the bank in Denvorn.
So, you know the guy in the bank, and the guy in the bank is like, Jan, there's no way we have a record of you, man. But you know what? If you need a silver piece here, and he takes one from a stack on the counter, and he's like, it's on me, man.
Jan thanks him, and then actually gives him enough silver back to let the guy buy a drink that night.
Sounds good. Yeah, so then Freelord May, you just spent 200 silver to feed the commoners, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, people start to swarm around. They're kind of taken aback at first that you're not actually charging anything for this food, but they graciously accept it. They're all looking a little hungry, so that's really nice. That is, let me see. Let's go ahead and give you a Benny for that one. Yeah, you've got room for Bennies.
I do have room for Bennies.
And now, Sir Faulkner, what's up with you?
Well, as we discussed before.
Hey, I just one-upped you, dude.
Bitch, please. I'm going to spend 600 gold.
Do it.
Bread. I already did. I already deducted it from my money.
And at this point, there is a big crowd of refugees and common folk that have showed up. You see that quite a few people have gotten your message from the criers. That just went around, even just an hour before.
Oh God.
So I set up again, like I discussed with you.
Is this his talk of socialism?
No. It's set up so that there's got to be a line, and people who go up, and I've got like 8 guards guarding the people so they don't rush and swarm or whatever, and it's get in a line, and I'm intentionally making it take some time so they're forced to listen to my speech.
Okay.
And I announced that back home in Dunkelfluss, I have overthrown the corrupt government, and I'm rebuilding a fine place, but our population has been diminished, and there is much work to be done. Anyone who goes there, I guarantee, along the trip there will be free food until you get there, and anyone who arrives will have a job. There's lots of skilled labor and lots of unskilled labor, and if there are elderly people who are no longer able to work, we do need teachers of your crafts as well. I am sending some of my caravan back to Dunkelfluss. The crippled can sit in the caravan. Obviously, there's plenty of room now that I'm giving out all this bread. And just, make a big... Everyone go to Dunkelfluss. It's great. It's jobs.
All right. And someone in the crowd shouts out. Someone shouts out, well, where is Dunkelfluss? I've never heard of it.
It's like, is it 3 or 4 days away?
It's It's just south of the city of Three Rivers, so it would be, I believe, a little more than a week away.
Okay. I'll say 9 days. It's 9 days walk, but you'll be going with a caravan that has enough guards to get you there safely.
Okay. One or two voices say, oh, 9 days, and another one says, through the forest? We've never left this town before. And then some of the refugees are like, get over it. And
I say, well, you can stay here. I know your lord is a gracious man. I'm merely looking for people who need a job. I've got lots of jobs, not a lot of people.
All right. So let's retroactively do a social conflict out of this, and we'll figure out how many people we can get to come with you. So
Great.
give me 3 persuasion checks. The first one we'll say will be your original pitch,
I guess
and then the second one will be this response.
Despite my tavern questioneering, as captain of the guard, I should be helping. So I'll go ahead and provide persuasion bonuses.
Okay.
If you
yeah.
want to. I actually don't know if Sir Falkner would even told you. He's got Lady Iron leading this particular group.
Yeah.
So if you want to go get drunk, go get drunk.
Or I can give you bonuses to persuasion so you can help win the social conflict.
That's true. I do appreciate that too. I got 11 the first time.
Or 11, all right. So that's
Plus the bonus that Andrew's going to give me.
I can give up to +2, right?
Yeah, if you get a success.
A success is 4?
No, a success is 2 and a raise is 2 as well. It's only
okay, well I get a minimum of 5.
Oh, okay. So yeah, then you give him a +2.
Great.
So that took
13.
you up to 13. And did you factor in your charisma bonus?
I did.
Okay. Then 13 is the success with 2 raises. So that first one was really convincing people. The people who were dissenting voices in the crowd were few and far between in this second part. So go ahead and give me the check for the second round.
Oh, fuck yeah. 3 and 6. Can I count his bonus since I know I'm going to get it?
Yeah.
20.
20?
Yeah, I've got +4 bonus, and my D8 rolled a 8.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. So at this point, people are just like, well, how soon can we leave?
Tomorrow!
It's only a day away.
I don't even want to do the third round of the social conflict. You have demolished this. There are quite a few people. So let's say that, let's see, there are 3 different categories. So let's say that 3d8 people decide to join you. 3d8 people plus 3. I got 8 the first time. I got 4. I got 5. So 8 and 4 and 5 is 12 and 17. Plus 3 is 20.
Exploded. The 8 exploded.
Fine, you're right.
Yes!
I only got a 1 that other time, though.
It's worth it.
So yeah, that's 21 people total that come to you and say, yes, we want to make the journey to Dunkelfluss. It sounds amazing. We can't wait. Can we leave immediately?
No, you have to go with Lady Iron and her troop, and they're leaving in the morning.
And then one of them is like, oh yeah, never left town before. Forgot we can't travel through the Blackwood at night.
It's alright. That's why you're going with Lady Iron. She's a badass.
Ooh, exciting. There's like a murmur of excitement that goes through the crowd. All right, so all this is wrapped up, and the sun has well and truly set at this point. It's not quite full dark yet, but it's getting there really quickly. So, torches are being lit, that sort of thing. And there's just a change in the air whenever night falls in the Blackwood. Even if you're behind a hedge that's an hour's walk away, and you're also behind like a big stone wall, there's still just a little bit of nerves that get you whenever the night falls. So,
there's the perfect solution to this.
Wine.
Wine.
Well,
can I make another streetwise check to try and find out who that noble family is that has the the blacksmithing guild?
Absolutely. Would you like to do that in a tavern?
That was my hope.
Okay.
Everyone should know that the best way to combat the night is with Schweissbier. The only beer as dark as the night.
Ooh.
I'll try his family beer. God. Ugh.
Okay, so here in the lower market, you have 2 taverns that you can choose from. There's the Old Master, and there is the Fire Cat. Jan and Darkhood, I think, have already headed over toward the Fire Cat. Is that right? Okay.
Which one looks nicer?
Sorry,
Old
Alexander,
Master.
you absolutely do get a Benny for that. Thank you for pointing that out. Sir Faulkner gets a Benny for convincing some folks. But anyway, the Fire Cat is it's a darker building, and it looks like it's a little, not necessarily older, but less well maintained, I guess you could say, but not by a whole lot. The Old Master is a taller building, and it looks like it might be a little thicker too. And you definitely get the sense
which one is more impressive engineering-wise?
The old master for sure. It takes more pride
Done.
in appearance. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you can head in there. And Sir Faulkner, are you heading to a tavern as well?
Did you say there was guards at the old master
There
to
are.
keep out the riffraff?
Yes.
Great.
To keep out yawn, is what you mean.
At the
That
end of a long day, I do like to, go drink with the riffraff. Nope, rich people. Gonna go drink with the rich people.
Sounds good. All right. So the party is splitting up. We will take a quick 10-minute break. We're about halfway through our session. And when we get back, we will find out what's going on in the Firecat, since we just wrapped up something with Sir Faulkner and Freelord May. So, everybody, go smoke them if you got them. Get back in 10 minutes. I am back. I see two of you are as well.
We do what we can.
So Jan and Darkhood, before we get started, do you imagine that you guys frequent, like you're regulars at the Firecat at this point?
Well, I am in on a first name basis with Hans, the barkeep, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, we were kind of regulars back whenever we were first here, so I would say it could make sense that we'd become regulars again.
Okay.
So, like, when Jan walks in, he'll just say, "It is I," and we'll walk up to the bar.
Yeah, it's funny. You are on first name basis with the barkeep, but that's because both of you only have first names.
Way to
Makes
be
it
a
easy.
jerk there. God.
I have a other parts to my name.
Yes. Several repetitions of your name.
I always like those things, like in books you go, like people will say, I am so-and-so, son of so-and-so, son of so-and-so. Jan could do that. So
Right.
he could go, the son of Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan.
It's Jan's all the way down.
And they do that just because it's easier than to actually count. And just number them.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Extremely poor families will often just number their children instead of naming them. But Jan's family, they didn't even go that far.
Nope.
You get one name, Jan and Jan. Take your pick.
Actually, that's great. Yeah, all the women are Jan.
It's like George Foreman's kids over there.
So that's why he always gets so upset when I call him Yan.
What are all of they are? They're all named George, aren't they?
Even his girl.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's some hardcore narcissism right there.
Hey man, at least they're
Indeed.
named after his first name and not his grill.
That's probably just because he
So
stopped
who-
having kids before he had the grill.
George, and the lean, mean grilling machine. All right, we're ready to get back. As night falls, it's not like a blizzard sweeps in, but it did snow the day before, and now it's a windy night, so the snow is kind of blowing around, you know. But you guys managed to get yourselves inside. It's a lot warmer inside the taverns. The Firecat, just as you always knew it, it is an L-shaped building wrapped around one of the corners of the marketplace. And like I said, it's got a lot of dark wood. It's a heavy-feeling kind of building, you know. The ceilings inside are low. It's dark in
Darkwood
there.
for Darkwood.
Hey-oh, Darkwood, Darkwood. That's a different thing, anyway. So you get inside, and just like always, there are a few groups of people kind of huddled into their own corners, minding their own business. Some of them are still wearing their cloaks from outside. And Jan, you enter, correct?
Yes, Jan just bursts through the door, axe on his shoulder, and says, "It is I!" and walks up to the bar and asks for a drink.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, everybody in the bar knows who the crazy guy the town crier was talking about is.
Well, a few people look over their shoulders, and it's the exact welcome you always get, which is they look at you, and then they go back to their own stuff. But you do walk over to the counter, and Hans is there, and he's got these big, thick mustaches now. Like, you must have been growing them since the day you left. They're like huge chops, right? It's insane. He says,
Holds
"Oh!"
up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jan holds up his axe and said, "Do you need a trim?"
Oh, Jan, son of Jan. No, it's winter. You know, I had to cover my face somehow. Anyway, can I get you gents something? Oh, you said ale. You want some ale? Here, let me get you some ale. Here, come on. Oh, let's get you some ale. And Darkhood, what are you doing with your hood on? Can't you take it off?
Yeah, it's probably all right in here. He'll pull his mask down and pull his hood back.
As soon as you do, he's like, "Oh, I forgot. Keep it back on. Keep it on."
Wait, I thought he got cut off.
Or maybe not. He'll put his hood back up.
Okay.
I thought he got trimmed.
He did, but he doesn't have a root anymore. But that doesn't mean he looks normal.
No, I actually never had one.
Yeah, it was just me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
But,
and
yeah.
Eggle.
Yeah.
I have extremely pronounced canine, and then I have like what is essentially like goat ears.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was just going to kind of pseudo-whisper to the barkeep, to Hans, to say, he doesn't like it when people look at his cauliflower ear.
At some point, I'm going to just have recommended a headband. You know, whatever.
Yeah, so...
Spock it up.
He pours you some ale and he says, "Oh, what have you been up to these past few months?" And at this point, we're going to switch over to the Old Master. So the Free Lord May and Sir Faulkner both approach, and the guards, much in contrast to Darkhood, they look at you and they see the state of your clothing and your cleanliness, and they immediately just usher you inside the Old Master.
That reminds me, though, I do want to interject. While Faulkner's clothes are definitely clean and he's probably not poor because of that, he does wear peasant clothing.
Right, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think in the last session we had determined that you wear peasant clothing, but like other people when they wear peasant clothing, it's like 2-year-old clothing, and for you it's probably not as old.
Well, basically what happened is I saw what my peasants were wearing and I ordered my tailor to make me that, and now I wear that, but I keep it nice.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
This is like maybe a month-old tunic.
You have tailor-made peasant clothing?
Yeah, I don't live better than my people.
This is the conversation as you guys are walking into the tavern.
If you weren't better than your people, why is it tailor-made?
I'm still better. I'm still, I've got a divine right to rule. I just don't like to lord myself above them.
I am so confused. Maybe we can talk about this over ale. Maybe you can finally convince me of your dream.
All right,
Time
yeah.
to help
so
with it,
In this tavern, it's stone construction primarily instead of wood, and it's got not a super tall ceiling. It's maybe 8 feet tall or so, but it's vaulted, and so it feels a little bigger. And there are these stately stone columns that are placed every here and there, and there are tables, but it's not filling up the space. There are a lot of bearskin rugs that are on the floor, and there are these big casks of ale in the corner. There's a roaring fire.
Is there a cask of ale for old iron, whatever?
Yes, yeah. You look over at the bar, and you notice that, strangely, there's just a tankard that's sitting there all on its own. Nobody's touching it, and the bartender is near it, but he's very obviously not taking it away.
I'll ask what's going on.
So there's a lot of people that are kind of engaged in their own conversations. They're kind of bustling around. It's almost a lively atmosphere, and there's some music going on in the corner, some light lute playing from a traveling storyteller. And you approach the barkeep, and the barkeep says, "Oh, yes, well, welcome to the Old Master, my lord. What can I do for you tonight?"
I'm wondering about the cask.
Oh, this cask. Someone came to the door a little while ago and said that they would like an ale poured out for one of ours who recently fell in the line of errantry.
How did he fall?
Oh, well, Iron Bear was, ancestors claim him, a staple of this area. He was an ardent warrior. He stood up for virtue and goodness everywhere he went, and he brought much relief to the people of this province. But 2 months past, there was an outlaw band that swept through Talbrand, a ways north of here, and he went out to meet them, and alas, after many, many years of errantry, he was finally overcome. He was struck down by the bandits, and sadly, he watches over us no more. Well, of course he does from the skies, but his strength is missed.
Out of character, can you spell that?
The village?
The name of the village, yeah.
Yeah, Derek actually just put it in the chat. It's Talbrand.
Okay. Well, we need to encourage this kind of behavior in others. So why don't we keep this going for a week?
Ah.
And I'll just palm over another 10 silver.
Very nice. I haven't made your acquaintance, my lord. I'm pleased to meet a noble and one that is not native to the city.
Free Lord Warren May, at your service.
Yes, and I see you have a companion here. He looks over at Sir Faulkner. Welcome, my lord. Well met.
He tips his head, but doesn't interject in the conversation.
All right. Okay. And he says, "Well,
don't let this man fool you. He is a stand-up fellow who would see any wrong righted."
Ah, yes. Well, good to know. Good to know. Well, I am Henrik Dorvert. I am the proprietor of the Old Master, and I am only too happy to serve you. So, I know that we shall have a tankard of ale set out for the next 7 days for Iron Bear, but what can I get for the two of you?
I will take a glass of wine.
I am happy to oblige. And for you, Sir Faulkner?
I would like your darkest, most bitter beer.
Darkest and most bitter. You know, we just got a shipment in today. Come from back east near Three Rivers. It's called Schwartz beer. Have you heard of it?
This is my response, actually. Just start laughing. No, not that one. That's my beer.
Oh, truly.
Truly.
Well, my lord, I must taste it in the presence of its creator. Please, please. May I pour you a tankard as well, or shall I find you something local?
I'm interested in trying something that I haven't had before, but I'll drink with you one of those first.
Ah, very well, of course, of course.
And I cite him what I know is twice the amount, so I'm paying for his drink as well.
Okay, sounds good. And then, really quickly, Derek, do you remember the name of the dark ale from the previous run?
Oh, no, I don't. I can go look for it.
No, it's fine. It'll take too long.
Can I have the caved-in inn?
Sorry?
Can I get the caved-in inn?
What'd you say? The caved-in inn? Yeah. This is. Wait, what is the Denvorn Brewery? They make a dark ale. Let's just call. Okay. Please, sir, I'm pleased to present Denvorn Dark, the finest dark beer in this province. It's wonderful and perfect for a winter's night. And I am so pleased to be able to imbibe some of this fine Schwartz beer. To you, sir. Cheers.
Cheers.
And then he looks at Free Lord May and he says, and to Iron Bear as well.
To Iron Bear.
Yes, and so chinky and drinking.
What was the name of the tavern again? I'm sorry, I had it written down, but I deleted it.
The Old Master.
Okay.
Yeah, so he says, so what brings you folks to town? And at this point, we will switch back over to the Firecat. So in the Firecat, you have just wrapped up summarizing, what you've been doing these past few months. And make a notice check for me.
To listen or?
Yeah, it could be either. Choose.
6.
6 for notice?
Yeah.
And Darkwood, what about you?
5 minus 2 is 3.
3? So no dice for you. Jan, as you are kind of swapping opportunities to speak with Darkwood while you're updating Hans, you're looking around the tavern and you notice that there are a few people at a table who are not only like having their own conversation, but they're looking at you, and then they look back and they have their own conversation a little more. It looks like they're probably talking about you and Darkwood.
Jan will take his drink and saunter over to them and said, "What was that you said?"
Okay. Darkwood, how do you react to this?
Completely oblivious. He's right in the middle of telling Hans about the exchange they had with the crier whenever they first got back into town.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, Jan just goes off on a tangent like he often does. And at first, he doesn't think anything about it. He thinks he's probably chasing mud across the room or something else like that. And then he hears him shouting, and he just says, "Oh boy," and starts to down his drink.
All right. Sorry. What did he say?
He just says, "Oh boy," and just downs the rest of his drink and prepares for the worst.
Sounds good. I'll give you a Benny for that. Can you accept a Benny? You got plenty.
I have 4, so that would put me at 5.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Prepares for the worst. There's no way to prepare for the worst with Jan.
You just have to try.
Can be surprisingly creative. The worst. Yeah. So Jan approaches these people, and he said, "What did you say?" Is that what he says?
Yeah, rather loud.
Yeah, then they look over at him, and they look like for a second they're trying to figure out how to stop this conversation from happening.
Right before they say anything, right before the guy answers, Jan lunges forward and grabs the air on the table, sort of like he's grabbing a creature by the scruff of the neck, and just pulls it off and says, "Get down!"
I guess we should be asking, is this something we can hear over at the other tavern?
Oh no, not at all. This is a wildly different place.
Hey now, it's Jan. It's possible.
Yeah, I would say that they're probably like 200 feet apart or something like that. So it would be quite a stretch to be able to hear them. But
you say that, but in a couple turns, we're going to be wondering what's going on over at the other bar.
Yeah. So Jan, yeah, you pull mud off the table, and they kind of look at each other. And one of them shakes his head and mutters something, and the other one like elbows him. He's like, "It's Jan, son of Jan. Be quiet." He says, "We weren't saying anything about you, Jan, but your friend over there. We saw him when he took his hood off. He's elf marked."
And Jan looks over at Darkhood and kind of back and a quizzical look like, huh? Like he doesn't quite understand what they're saying.
He says, he had the ears. He looked like a goat from the back. You saw him.
Jan kind of shrugs, says, "So?" And this is all really loud.
So he's deformed, bewitched by elves.
Ah, he's a good sort.
No, I don't trust any elf marked. And another one says, "I knew we shouldn't have trusted a crazy man."
When he says that, Jan stares at him. And after a brief second of just glaring at him, the axe that he's holding in his other hand just slams down into the table.
Okay. They jump a little bit, but the one who said that actually jumps up and like puts his hand on his waist, and you see that he's got an axe there too. And he realizes that there's no attack coming, and so he saunters up, and he gets nose to nose with Jan, and he actually has to look down a little bit to do it, right? And he says,
"Wait, he's taller than Jan then?"
Lumberjack
Just a little bit.
Lumberjack competition. Lumberjack competition.
Darkhood lets out a whistle.
The
Like
guy, the guy doesn't break eye contact with Jan, but the other two that are there look over at Darkhood and they scowl whenever he whistles. But the one who's looking Jan eye to eye, he says, "I didn't stutter, did I? I called you crazy, always pretending there's some invisible dog following you around. It's nonsense."
Before he gets finished, Jan headbutts him.
Headbutts him. Give me an attack.
Yeah. The ones that looked over already saw that Darkhead had his bow drawn.
Okay. His parry is 7 and his toughness is 8.
Okay, I'm going to spend a Benny.
Okay.
And another Benny. 9.
9. Okay, so give me some damage. I think because
yes.
you don't have any like unarmed skills, do you, Edges?
No.
He does have a very hard and thick head.
It's true, but it'll just be strength plus d4. -2, I think, actually.
Strength plus d4.
Yeah.
-2. So it's probably not going to hurt him.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's actually just your strength die, but you can roll... no, you can't roll a wild die with it because it's damage.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just a 4. So it's really just a shock sort of thing.
Yeah, so you hit him, and he like stumbles backward and grabs his nose, and you see this bleeding, but he's not phased. He looks back at you and he says, I challenge you to answer the call of errantry right out in this marketplace right now.
Okay, mechanically I don't know if you want to do this, but Jan doesn't say anything, just lunges forward, grabs him, and throws him towards the door like he's accepting this.
It's unorthodox, but we'll go with it. And then the other two at the table look over at Darkhood and they say, yeah, and your elf mark mutt if he's got the stomach for it.
Did he say mutt?
He did.
Jan growls, mutt's not an elf.
Those two look at you, and they know better than to call you crazy, so they just let that slide. But they're looking over at Darkhood this whole time.
Sure. Step outside.
All right, so you guys step outside together. Meanwhile, over in the old master...
Okay.
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't know if I need to say this, but Jan took his axe with him.
Sounds good. Yeah, I assumed. Okay, so meanwhile, over at the old master, yeah, he has asked you, what you're doing in town, so you've had an opportunity to explain that to him. And he says, oh, well, you have picked the right establishment this evening, gentlemen. There are many fine establishments in the upper quarter and even in the noble place, or in the noble quarter. There are a few compounds that have wonderful soirees, but here in the Old Master, we are committed to tradition, honor, glory, virtue. Yes, we are not like the foul ilk of the fire cat across the marketplace.
I say, what a virtuous establishment. I'm glad to spend my coin here.
Yes, well, we are glad to accept it, of course. May I get you some food? Are you hungry?
No, thank you. I only eat the food of my homeland.
There's always room for food.
Yes, quite.
Feast! Feast,
Well,
I say!
We do have roast chicken, and it comes with a number of seared vegetables. If you
How many roast chickens do you have?
Well, look over here. He gestures, and there's a feasting table set up.
I look around. How full is the tavern?
The tavern has, let's say, 20 people in it. Actually, no.
How many people want to eat?
That's not true. It's got 14 people in it.
How many people want to eat?
They all look over and they say, "Hear, hear!"
Out of character, can I feed them all for 100 silver?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, how much is a feast?
Feast would be 100. Yeah. You would just basically buy the feasting table.
Let's do it!
Okay. You can take a penny for that.
Sir Faulkner was looking for a quiet place to drink. This has gotten loud. He's going to leave.
Okay. So, Freelord May, you notice that Sir Faulkner is leaving. How do you respond?
You're leaving?
Yes, to go get my dinner. I left it at the wagon.
Have fun. I'm going to find out more about this glorious Iron Bear and his tales of valor.
I take a few silver and I throw it to him and say, "Good. Let me know what you find out."
I take the silver and I throw him over to the barkeep. A tip from my good friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am most pleased to accept it. And then he kind of trails off. So, Sir Faulkner, what are you doing right now?
Well, I'm walking out, and apparently I'm stealing this flagon.
That's fine. The old master operates on credit all the time.
So I just walk outside, and then I immediately wish that I had not walked outside.
Yeah, there is a biting wind that hits you as soon as you walk outdoors, and you're kind of looking around. The marketplace is emptied out. There are still some stalls, but they're all packed in for the night, so they're just kind of out there alone in the marketplace. However, across the way, you're looking over at the Firecat Tavern, the tavern that the bartender Henrik mentioned, and you notice that there are some people coming out the doors over there and coming out into the marketplace. It looks, in fact, like a couple of people are going out to square up for a duel, and there is a small crowd that is watching from the windows and peeking out the door and that sort of thing.
Well, poor people sometimes have cloaks, so I bundle up my cloak and drink my really dark beer, and I go to, see what's going on, but I'm a little bit wary because if I accidentally find out that there's an evil errant, I'm going to have to fight them, and I don't want to do that.
Understandable. Okay, so then you head over and you observe this duel. Before we switch back over to that, Freelord May, is there anything that you want to do with this feast? Are you trying to accomplish, get information or something like that? Oh, you were looking for the blacksmith, right?
I was looking for the blacksmith, but that's not why I threw the feast.
Well, go ahead and give me a streetwise roll, and I'll let you add +2 to it because you've loosened quite a few lips with this feast.
Streetwise. 5.
5, okay. That is a success, and so you manage, and that was with the +2 added?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then you manage to talk to a few people who are familiar with the noble quarter. There is actually a retainer for one of the noble houses who is in the Old Master tonight, and he says, "Oh yes, well, House Flinderthel. They are well known for their association with the Smithies Guild, and I'm sure that if you were to explain your situation, they would be only too happy to assist you."
I'm sorry, could you say that again? House what?
House Flinderthel. They are from the Elder Kingdom, as I understand. From the Elder Valley. My apologies. in my cups.
Well, I appreciate your help.
Yes, of course. I believe, what is his wife's name? Oh, it is Clara. Clara Flinderthel, yes. Clara and Heron Flinderthel. And if you would believe it, it's actually Clara who is the smith. She is quite talented, from what I understand.
That is most helpful. I appreciate everything you've done.
Yes, of course, yes.
Now, tell me more of Iron Bear. May his legacy live ever on.
What a valiant soul. He never even carried a weapon. He wore full armor of plate steel, like the kind you see from those Widelander stories. But no weapon was good enough for him. For a time, it said that he wielded a sword. For a time, it said that a sword became too easy, and so he wielded a two-handed hammer instead. But even that was too simple. And he took, in his final days, to going into battle with nothing but his hands, breaking the weapons of his enemies, and convincing them to stop fighting instead of actually defeating them. He was such an amazing figure. Incredible in battle.
A defeat of the mind is far greater than a defeat of the body.
Well said. Hear, hear. And this is such delicious beer. Schwartz beer, it's called. Have you tried it?
Yes, my friend, he grows it at his estate, or he brews it at his estate. Whatever, I'm more of a wine person myself, but it is delicious.
I do love a good wine, but this beer is magnificent. You'll have to introduce me to your friend. Is he here?
He just left. He doesn't like people.
Meanwhile, out in the courtyard.
That's not true!
Well, if only you were here to correct my misunderstandings.
All right, so out in the courtyard, the snow is blowing around. It's fairly trampled upon here in the marketplace.
Oh, Joe. Once the fight, once it's clear, if it becomes clear to the people in the tavern that there is a battle for errantry going on, gambling a hoe.
All right, sounds good. So you guys get out there, and it's really slushy, So we're gonna say that there is an unstable platform situation going on, which means that if you make ranged attacks, they'll be at -2.
On the ground or on rooftops as well?
Only on the ground.
Okay.
And then there will also be a -2 penalty if you make any acrobatics checks on the ground.
Okay.
So now that Jan is... Sorry, go ahead, Blackwood.
I don't know if Darkwood has ever actually been made an errant, so I don't think he is actually officially one.
Oh.
I thought you were, because I thought Jan was the only person who hadn't declared errantry. And then Darkwood... Because I was there when Jan declared errantry, and then he told Darkwood about it.
Yeah, I don't believe that he has. Now, if you want to have had that happen at some point, I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't have a problem with him being one, but I think he had the opportunity once and declined.
Yeah, well, this is another opportunity, let's say. He doesn't have to declare errantry, but if he does not, then there will be...
Legal repercussions?
Well, potentially, yeah, because, errants are defined by not having a steady home. They wander the Blackwood, right? And they just do it, they answer the call of errantry so that they can do it with some legal benefits.
Right.
And you don't have to have those benefits if you don't want to. There's nobody holding you to them, but that would mean, if you were to kill an errant, and if the town guard were to realize that you are not an errant, then you would be subject to the penalty for killing someone.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
He's all right with being one. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, then. So you guys square up. There are 4 people in this duel: Jan, Darkhood, and these 2 figures, one of whom seems to be Jan's equal in a lot of ways, and the other one, who is... So, Darkhood, what is your stature like?
Well, he's pretty lithe, is kind of the way I imagine him. And he isn't actually a very agile person, so he's probably pretty sinewy. But because of the limp that he has with his leg, it kind of gives a false impression of kind of his abilities.
Okay.
It's kind of the way I've always seen him.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he's also tall. He's not as tall as Jan. He's a little shorter than Jan, but he's a little taller than Darkhood. And he's not exactly lithe or like sinewy or anything like that. He's got a fairly average build, but you can tell that he packs a fair amount of power into it, right? And he squares off against Darkhood, and he pulls out twin antler knives. And he says... By the call of errantry, I challenge you to a duel. My name is Old Flint. And he gestures to his neck and he says, because this piece of flint came from my grandfather, who was the greatest errant in my family line. It is for him I fight, and I will take you down. For I am famed in this land.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it.
How impertinent. But this is going to be an intimidate check against you, so...
Okay, yeah.
That'll be resisting against your spirit.
Spirit.
Yeah. Oh, I aced. I got an 8 altogether.
Okay. Spirit.
Is ace the same as a raise?
Yeah. Well, no. Acing is equivalent to exploding. A raise is if you get a certain number on your ace. Yeah.
Exploding is what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I still get the wild die on this check, right?
You do, yeah. As a wild card, you do.
Okay. 4 exploded. That's good.
Something I didn't realize until earlier. This hasn't happened for me, but double ones is bad.
Yeah, it's not generally very good ever.
Okay.
Yeah. Question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you roll double ones, can you spend a Benny to prevent it, or does it happen no matter what?
You know, I'm not totally clear on that myself. I think that I think you can.
Okay.
Because the only example I can think of that would be contrary to it is with arcane backgrounds, and that is where if you roll any number
Roll a 1
on,
no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But and that one it's not even a double one. Like if you roll a
You
1
just
on the
roll
skill
one.
die,
Yeah.
regardless of what you got on the wild die, then it becomes a problem. But anyway, so Darkhood, what do you got?
I got an 11 total. My D4 exploded
11.
twice.
All right, so I had an 8 and you had an 11, so you are thoroughly not impressed by this guy's declaration of errantry.
Hey man,
And
Darkwood
so-
committed genocide with me. He's not
Yeah.
worried about some guy with a piece of rock.
Kind
It's
of the
a
way
fair
that I
point.
was, kind of the way I was seeing Darkhood, and the reason why I had declined the errantry in the first place is because Darkhood doesn't agree with all of the pomp and circumstance behind it.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
So he's like, whatever, you know, like, yeah, your dad was this guy, and yeah, okay, that's cool, you know, like, but, you know, he's okay with the rest of it, you know, having honor to fight and all that kind of stuff, but all the lineage and the titles and all that kind of shit he doesn't care about at all.
Okay. So then, you, according to the ancient and honorable format of an errant's duel, you would make some sort of declaration where you at least introduce yourself and accept the challenge. And this would
Okay.
come in the form of an intimidation or a persuasion check. It's a test of will, or intimidation or taunt, I mean.
Okay. I don't. Let me see if I have either one of those. I don't think I do. Nope. Okay. So he's gonna kind of, you know, yada yada, and when he says impertinent and gets all huffy about it, he's gonna say, "Yep, this is my bow. I'm Darkhood. I shoot things with this, and you're probably gonna get shot with it a lot right now."
So I assume that's intimidate or taunt.
Yeah. So it's a D4 -2.
Yeah. And sorry, is it intimidate or is it taunt?
We'll go with intimidate. Yeah.
I got 3
yeah, it's
on
gonna
my check.
I'll spend a Benny.
Okay.
So -2 is a 3 total.
A 3? Okay, so it's tied, so no victor on either side of this. Meanwhile, over on the other side of this duel, and Sir Faulkner, at this point, you've approached for sure, and you can be watching this going on. The other side of the duel, the guy says, "They call me Cliff, and this axe is about to fell you, Jan, son of Jan." This also is an intimidate check.
I'm confused. Are they doing 2 individual duels simultaneously, or is it 2-on-2 and they can engage whoever they want?
It's 2 individually, but they're happening at the same time.
So if
all
Darkwood
right.
was to shoot Cliff, that would be bad.
Yeah, I mean, it would be it wouldn't be the height of honor. And I'm going to go ahead and spend another Benny so I can re-roll this intimidate check. Dang it, I got a 4. So
I got a 9.
as opposed to your spirit. Oh, okay. So yeah, you got a 9, so you're good to go, and then you can do your own declaration of errantry. And,
Yana laugh out loud, really loud then, and say, "I am the tricker of trolls, the killer of elves, and the greatest lumberjack to come out of Denvorn. I am Jan, son of Jan."
I like it. All right, you
And-
can have a Benny for that one.
Okay, that'll be a taunt then, I guess. But I don't have that, so it's just a D4 -2.
Yeah, and it's opposed to his smarts, and he is not very smart, so he got a 2.
I got a 3.
Hey, perfect. All right, so then you get a +2 on your next action against him.
Perfect.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna jostle the guy next to me, but it's like, what? Why are they fighting?
and this is the third fellow, and he looks you up and down, and he says, they challenge each other to a duel. Turns out Jan's crazy, and the other one over there is an elf mark, not worthy of being in this town, that's for sure.
These are both things that are news to Faulkner, so he's just go, oh, I see.
Oh, please, you know Jan's crazy.
I just thought he had a magical dog.
Meanwhile, over at the Old Master, there is a murmur going through the crowd that there is a duel about to take place outside.
Let's go!
It's those dastardly fire cats, and they're fighting against each other rather than challenging someone from the Old Master. How about that?
They challenge you guys? For real?
One of them like slaps you on the shoulder and is like, "Oh, the rivalry between the venerable Old Master Inn and the awful Fire Cat Inn and Tavern is legendary. Those dishonorable whelps, they have fallen to our blades many times."
Well then, bets all around. Let's go. And
Very well.
When I see who's fighting, yeah, we're gonna clean house.
Okay, sounds good. So you head out there, and Jan and Darkhood, you both notice that the crowd is growing, despite the fact that it's dark and cold and windy and snowy. There are about 7 people that come out to watch this duel. So there's a total of about 12 or 13 people here, including the people from the Fire Cat. Now, it's time for initiative.
It cost me a penny, but 14 on gambling.
14 on gambling. Good lord. Okay. Then how do we handle that?
They also roll gambling. You set an amount that they're betting, and then everyone who basically you pick however many people are gambling, and then whoever rolls the highest, you compare that with whoever rolled the lowest, and the difference in raises, they get the amount that was agreed upon betting, and then the second highest gets this amount from the second lowest, and the third highest gets from the third lowest, fourth highest from the fourth lowest, all the way until eventually you're going to run out of people.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then we'll just do like it'll be Freelord May versus everybody.
I was gonna say that is way too much work.
Yeah, I don't want to handle all those rolls. But so you got a 14, you said, or 11?
You can just give me money or take away money. I got a 14.
Okay. So then I got a 5, so 9 difference. That's a success with a raise.
So if Darkhood and Jan win, I get money.
Right. Yeah. So we'll say it's 2 because of success and a raise. It's 2 to 1. Odds are against the. Actually, I think odds would actually be against the challengers in this case. It wouldn't be against Jan and Darkhood because they're known in this area, and they're known as heroes actually.
But not known well enough to be let into the iron.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. The Old Master.
Because the Old Master people don't like Jan.
Yeah. Let's say it's even odds then. Oh no, it's 2 to 1 odds against them.
They almost let Darkhood in. They like the fact that he bought the cask for Iron Boar.
Right. Well, but as regulars of the Fire Cat, they're pretty much despised by the Old Master in folk too. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with 2 to 1 actually. 2 to 1 against. Yeah.
You can say Flashing Dagger is one of the people there, and he bets against Jan.
Oh, Flashing Dagger, yeah, that asshole. Okay, but anyway, let's do initiative. So Jan will do you first. Actually, Darkhood, that's alphabetical order. Darkhood, you have a 4 of diamonds. Jan, you have an ace of clubs, and then the bad guys have a 5 of clubs. So it'll be Jan, and then the bad guys, and then Darkhood.
Okay, Jan's actually going to do 2 actions.
Okay.
So this first one's just, you said I get a +2 with it, so it's just a net 0 with that. So he's actually going to use Entangle just on Cliff. So it's a d6 -1 for me.
Okay.
I'm going to spend a penny.
Okay.
I'm going to spend another penny.
Okay.
Can I go with what I got before, or do I have to keep going?
Take the highest of whatever roll you want.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to do another Benny.
Okay. So you're down to 3 at this point?
I've just taken off 2. Hold on.
Okay.
I have 4 left.
Okay.
I got a 4 on my entangle.
Okay, gotcha. And is it opposed to his agility?
Yes.
Okay. So agility check then is going to be 3. I got a 3. So yeah, he steps forward to attack, and then all of a sudden he gets like rooted to the spot. And he starts like hacking away.
And he can't see, but it's like roots came out of the ground and just went over his feet. And so as he's dealing with that, Jan will let out a roar and will rush towards him, axe in hand, and will actually make a wild attack.
Ooh, okay.
With his axe.
So that's -2 attack, but it's -2 fighting, but +4 damage.
No.
Is it not?
Hold on. It is +2 fighting, +2 damage, -2 parry.
That's it. Gotcha.
Okay, and so it's again a net 0 for my multi-action, a -2 and a +2 for the wild attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to spend another Benny.
All right.
I got a 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
6 does not hit him, unless Entangle modifies his parry, which I don't think it does. Let me double check here. -2 penalty to pace and skills linked to agility and strength. So yeah, not parry. Yeah, so he's like down here and he's like trying to get these roots off of his feet. And then he notices you coming up and swinging at him, and he just bends straight backwards, Neo style, and the axe passes like right where his torso would have been. And then he springs back up ready to attack. And he's going to level his axe and just like come around up toward where your head is.
Well, he can't attack me until he gets untangled.
He can't? Not at all?
I don't think so.
I would think he couldn't move.
Snaking binds success indicates partial restraints if the target suffers a minor penalty. No, I think it just means a raise restrains the target fully.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
Under this is just under a penalty, but he too is going to do a wild attack. So his fighting skill is negated. It's a net 0, but then he has +2 damage if he manages to land this. And your parry right now is 9, I think.
9. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going to spend a Benny. That takes me down to just 1 left. Too bad.
I'm helping Darkwood.
How do you get more bennies?
How do I? I don't. I only have a fixed number.
That's lame.
But I start off with 1 for every player plus 2 for every wild card, so I get more.
There is a rule in what is it? The D20 Superheroes game, Mutants and Masterminds, where you could grab a Benny or their equivalent anytime you wanted, but doing so would give that player a Benny as well.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So
yeah,
you could say you could be like, Jan, I'm taking a Benny here, but you get one too for later use.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that makes sense to me. There are some similar house rules in Savage Worlds. I just haven't made use of them. I don't mind having a fixed number of bennies. But at any rate, I only got a maximum of 6. So this guy swings back around and he like whiffs Jan just a little bit. And like I said, his parry is 7 and his toughness is 8. Now, time for Darkhood. So the other attacker, the one with the antler knives, he leaps up into the air. He's going to do 2 actions. It's going to do an agility trick to psych you out, and then he's going to do an attack with both of his antler knives. So, first of all, the agility trick.
I have quick draw, and it says that it gives me a free action.
Mm-hmm.
Would that net me anything in this instance, or no?
No, I think it just all it would really do you still have to act on your initiative order. It's just
I see.
you have
Okay.
a free action to draw. Yeah.
Sure.
So.
And he is
Go ahead.
currently at a -2 to his agility because of the weather conditions you said, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like I said, this guy is leaping up and twisting around and trying to psych you out with his agility trick, right? And so you need to make an agility trick to oppose me, and I will make this roll here. I got a 5.
And I have the edge acrobat, so does that negate the weather bonus? Because I have a +2 with agility.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
And
cool.
actually, I would have gotten a 3 with the weather bonus too. So
Okay.
there's that. And actually, with the multi-action penalty, I would have gotten a 1. So just don't screw this up, okay? You said you got 11?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it muted because the dogs are barking. But yes, I got an 11.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, then it's totally, like, it's just an embarrassment. He's not at all fooling you. So he's going to make an attack roll instead, and he gets to make 2 because he has the two-fisted edge. So the first one was a 5. What's your parry? 6? Just barely missed. The second one, 8. So that is an 11 total. And he has the multi-action. No, he doesn't have a multi-action penalty for two-fisted. But he is taking an action on top of that. So, oh geez, he does have a -2, but it's 9. So he hits you.
So you have the -2 for an offhand attack.
This is his primary hand. The first attack is. The second one will have the offhand penalty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the agility trick was not an action, right? It's a separate thing?
It was an action, yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
He took 2 actions, and then his two-fisted gives him
Okay, I got it.
free action, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the first one was a 9, and he hits you, but he didn't get a raise, so no extra damage there. And then Antler Knives are strength plus D4, so he's going to roll that.
D6.
And I got
It's
2
a D6,
damage.
Eli.
D6? Oh, well, that's good to know. I'll just re-roll this then. I got 8 total. What is your toughness? Sorry, I can't. I wasn't looking. What is your toughness?
It is a modified 6 with my armor.
Modified 6. Gotcha. So I got an 8 then, which means that I hit you. So you become shaken at this attack for the first one. Or no, yeah, for the first one. I've done 2 attacks at this point, right?
Yes, Eli, you're all out of stuff.
Yeah, I think one of them missed and the other one hit me.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, he comes at you and he just barely like slashes on your shoulder or something and catches your clothing and knocks you back a little bit. So you're going to have to make a spirit check to recover from shaken before you can act. And it is now your turn.
Or I think you can spend a Benny and it's gone.
That's true too.
Yeah, but you can spend the Benny after you fail, so.
Mm-hmm. Although it would be a multi-action if you recover from shaken and then also make an attack afterwards, so it might be strategic to spend the Benny ahead of time.
Okay, then I will go ahead and do so.
Okay.
I think that puts me at 3.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to shoot him.
Nice. Okay. Point blank range.
And I don't think the acrobat would negate the weather penalty for shooting, or would it?
No, it would not, because it's not an acrobatic move.
Okay.
Hey, Eli, on my combat options thing I printed out, it says you can't use a ranged weapon bigger than a pistol in close range. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
you
do
can
see
do
that. Do you have any edges that might justify it, Darkhood?
No, I don't think so. So I'll just take a step back away from him and do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can move as a free action, so just take a couple steps back and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll just, kind of hop backwards as he, we'll say he hit me with his first swipe and then missed me with the second one. And
Okay.
because I hop backwards, after his first hit or something. Cool for me. All right, D6 exploded, and again. So that's a 15.
15. So that's a success with a raise. It's a parry of 7, so you're good to go.
Oh,
and
I'm
actually,
sorry. With the minus two, it's actually a 13.
Okay, but and actually, even then, because you're doing a range attack, the target number is 4, so you definitely get a raise. So you can add 1d6 to your damage.
All right, let me see here. My bow is 2d6 already.
Yeah.
The bow's name is Ritual. That's right. Ritual. So we've got 3d6 total.
Correct.
Okay. 10 points.
10. So his toughness is 8, which means that you have shaken him too. So he stumbles backwards. And the arrow doesn't actually hit him, doesn't make impact, but it like goes through a sleeve, and he's like, oh, whoa! He freaks out.
I said that was a warning.
Interesting. Okay. New initiative round. Darkhood, you got a 3. And then Jan, you got a 9. And then the bad guys got an ace. Okay, so bad guy's turn. This guy is going to make an attempt to recover from shaken. And so I got a 6. Ooh, the ace. Okay, and that was a 2, so I got 8 total. A success with a raise. So my shaken condition is removed, and I can go ahead and act.
Does he have to take a -2 since he's doing more than one action in his turn?
He will, yeah. So it would actually just be a 6, but he only needs a success thanks to the new shaken rules. So he still recovers from being shaken, and then he's going to not make a double attack, but he is going to make a ranged attack. He's going to take his antler knife and throw it like a frisbee at you. And so his ranged attack is throwing.
Wait, like a frisbee? So it's going to spin wildly?
Yeah.
To Jan, it looks like Mutt's going to run after it and try to catch it.
You can have a penny for that. Sir Faulkner, have you seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
I have.
Antler knives are like those curved circular dagger things that the guy has toward the middle.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what those are. Those kukiri.
Well, a kukri is one thing, but these, I think, translated into English anyway, they're called deer horn knives. But yeah, they can be thrown like a frisbee in the Blackwood, at least. I don't know about real life. But yeah, so he throws it and he gets a 1. So the throw goes wild, folks. So that's his deal.
Mutt actually did catch it.
Oh yeah.
Darkhood kind of watches it fly past him and kind of raises an eyebrow back at the guy.
Yeah, and he hears Jan yell, "Good boy!"
Does anybody else need to duck?
Duck?
Well, there's a wild knife being thrown around.
So yeah, it flies back and it embeds itself in the wall of the fire cat. And that's a nice detail, so you can have a penny for that. Well done.
With Mutt attached to it still.
Yeah. All right, so the other guy is going to make a strength check to try and break out of this bond, right? And he has a D8 strength. So let's do this. I'm going to spend my last penny to get this guy out of here, because otherwise this turn is wasted. So I have 0 bennies, and here we go. Come on, fell off. 6. Okay, so he does manage to break out just barely. He's under the -2 penalty, but he rips his feet out of here. And then he's actually going to run past Jan and get over toward the building of the fire cat. He doesn't quite make it yet. So next it is Jan's turn.
I assume the guy wants to know where Jan's going to be, so he looks around. And as he does, Jan brings his axe and kind of brings it underhanded, and as it goes against the ground, he puts it sideways so the axe head is broadside and hits the slush up into the air into the guy's face.
Ah, nice. So this would be like an agility trick or something?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so you're going to make it a -2 because it's an agility skill?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I aced, so I got a 9 minus 2 is 7.
I got a 14.
14. God, okay. So then in that case, not only do I suffer a minus 2 parry until my next action, but I'm also shaken right now. Because as you're running past, the snow hits him, and he's like, "Ah!" And so he's like running over toward the building, but he's also trying to wipe the snow out of his eyes.
Okay. That was the only action I was taking this time. So,
Okay.
well, I mean, I guess I'll move towards him. But.
Okay, sounds good. And then Darkhood, you next.
Okay, so there's still distance between us. I will go ahead and take a second shot. Yeah, nothing fancy.
Okay.
D6 exploded.
I imagine Darkhood is like very calm as this is going on, you know, almost like a Zen calm. Just,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably freakishly calm.
I dig it.
Probably trying to make sure his hood doesn't fall off.
Yeah, right? Okay, so it's a 9 total.
9 total, and it's a ranged attack, so you only needed a 4. So
Okay,
it's a
excellent.
hit with a raise again, and you can add a d6 to your damage.
8.
8. Yeah, so 8 meets his toughness, and the tie goes to the attacker now, I think,
Excellent.
according to the rules as written. So, yeah, you do manage to hit him, and he is shaken once again. So basically, the arrow actually just embeds right in the ground at his feet, and it causes him to jump a little bit.
I'm getting tired of warning you.
All right, so that was that, and it is now time for the next round. So, Darkhood, a 5. Jan. Oh, the Joker. All right, way to go, Jan. And then the bad guy's got a Jack. So, Jan, would you like to go first?
Jan is going to go first. Yes. Okay. So as the guy is like stumbling, trying to clear his space, Jan rushes forward, axe in hand, to do a big overhand chop at this guy, and it's another wild attack.
Nice. So that's a +4 to attack, and not the damage though. Actually, I think.
Huh? Well, I'll get a +2 for a wild attack for the damage.
Right.
Okay. So hold on, get my dice right. 9.
A 9. That hits, but not with a raise.
Okay. So strength plus d6 plus 2. 9 again.
9. So that barely beats his toughness. So he is shaken. He was already shaken. So actually, he gets a wound this time. Yeah. And you were factoring in the +2 from your wild attack, right?
Yes, but I was not factoring in a +2. Does Joker give +2 for damage?
No.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just factoring in.
Cool. All right. Well, you know, actually, it's been such a long time since we've been in combat. I feel like I need to verify that initiative.
Well, I mean, even if it was, you said I just barely beat it, so it wouldn't have been a raise anyway. So.
+2 to damage as well. But you had a 9, so you went up to 11. So yeah, it's not quite a raise.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
All right. So, yeah, you. Well, wait. What did you roll on your attack roll?
I got a 9 with all the bonuses with
A
it.
9. But he had a -2, so he was actually at a 5, which means that you add a d6 to your damage against him, because you got a raise on that.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and roll an additional d6.
So 9, 10, 11, 12.
12 is a success with a raise. So yeah, you hit him, and you were swinging your axe at him?
Yeah,
Wild
just a
attack.
big overhead chop down onto him.
Nice, cool. So he brings his axe up to block, right? But the force of your blow knocks the axe back down, and your axe head like bites into his shoulder, and it hurts. It hurts real bad. I don't have any.
So is he
oh wait,
does he have 2 wounds though?
he's an extra, so he's actually dead.
Well, he's incapacitated, right? He doesn't necessarily be dead. But...
Yeah, let's roll incapacitation and see what comes up. So he needs to make a vigor check, and his vigor is a d6. Oh, wait. A 3. Yep, failure. Roll on the injury table. So injury table is 2d6. And we have a 10. Ooh, okay, so actually what happened, he brought the axe up, right? And he blocked your axe with his own. But it glanced off, and it came down and hit him square in the leg, buried itself into his thigh. He was like, oh! And he falls down to the ground. He says, I yield, I yield.
And okay, but Jan will get right up into his face and say, now what is it that you said?
I didn't mean it. You're not crazy.
Damn straight. And kind of pushes him down into the slush and stands up to watch Darkhood's fight.
I jostle the guy next to me. Didn't you just tell me that guy was crazy?
All right, so that was that.
You say that quietly, though, right?
Yeah. I'm just teasing him because I don't want him to be murdered horribly.
All right, so it's Old Flint's turn at this point, and I believe Old Flint is shaken right now. Is that correct? All right, so roll to recover.
Yes, he is.
And he does not recover from being shaken, so he is pretty jarred by this going on, but he can still take free actions, and he's just going to turn around and face you with his one other antler knife, and he's going to reach behind him, and the antler knife that's embedded into the wall of the firecat flies out of the wall and gets into his hand, and he's back with both of them again.
I'm just going to say to Sir Faulkner, he's crazy, but don't let him know. He doesn't take it well.
I'm sorry, Warren. Who's crazy?
Tam was an accident.
Jan is crazy. Haven't you noticed?
Get real. All right, so that was his turn, and now it is Darkhood's turn.
All right. The shoulder that he's got extended back, reaching for this as it's coming in, I'm just going to plug him right there with an arrow.
Nice. Do you want to make that a called shot?
I don't know what that entails, but that wasn't necessarily my intention.
It means that you have a -2 to hit him, but if you do hit him, then there is an additional boon of some kind. Let me pull up the exact.
It's a -2 to shoot a limb, -4 to hit a head, but it's +4 damage.
Yeah, it causes no additional damage, but it may ignore armor or have some other special effect. See the disarm maneuver. So if you want to, you can try and disarm him.
Nah, it was just flavor. I'll just go with a normal mechanical shot.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm gonna spin a Benny.
Okay.
Okay. So 4 was the highest that I rolled.
4 was the highest. Yeah, that is a hit, but not with a raise.
Okay, so it's just the 2d6. Ooh. 16 points.
16 points. Okay, yeah. So that's a hit with it's a hit with 2 raises. So he is incapacitated. He needs to make a vigor check. And his vigor result is a 4. But he has his wound penalties, -2. So he's only got a 2, which means he's got to roll on the incapacitation chart. What do you got, buddy? I got a 7. Got hit in the guts, somewhere between the crotch and the chin. Roll a d6. Got a 6. Yeah, right. So you hit me in the stomach, right?
Sure.
And it knocks me back onto my knees, or onto his knees, Old Flint's. And his strength die is reduced by 1 type, so his strength die is now a d4. And he says, oh, I yield, oh.
Is it common practice to claim like trophies from errants you've beat?
Well, he says, I swore a solemn vow. Any man who defeated me would get my antler knives.
Nice. Okay.
Take them and Leave me be. Oh.
Yeah, I'll go up and as I'm grabbing the knives, I lean in real close and I pull my face mask down and show him the sharpened teeth, and then I go bah, and then I put my mask back up and I
You can
walk
have
away
a
from him.
back for that. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, the two of them, Old Flint and Cliff, kind of like gather each other together and hobble off together. One of them holding his stomach and the other one holding his leg, and they just kind of go off into the alleys of the lower market area, the lower quarter, and the combat is finished. So well done, guys.
2
All
to
right.
1 odds.
Yeah, so how much money did you bet? Why don't you roll me like 3d6 and it'll be that number. 3d6
Okay.
plus 2. And raises or aces. Aces apply, yeah.
13.
13? Yeah, so 13, so you get 26 silver pieces from the various people in the crowd. And some of them are kind of begrudgingly giving them to you. One of them comes up and says, it was a good fight. I'm happy to pay it. And that's how much coin you end up collecting. So, well done, guys. And it is now time to make some decisions. You are all kind of here in the marketplace. Where do you want to go from here?
Well, the first thing I want to do is go over to Darkwood and Jan and be like, what the fuck was that?
On purpose at all that entire game.
Correcting of manners.
I killed you twice.
Yeah, Jan's still really angry and is just kind of breathing heavily and trying not to break things.
I go over to Jan and Jan, here, finish my beer for me.
Jan will take it and then just gulp it down.
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, Jan, you missed it whenever you stormed out of the fire cat, but old Hans promised a tankard to whoever won that fight, so...
When he says that, though, a smile goes to the mouth of the big burly man, and he lets out a big laugh, puts an arm around Darkwood, and says, "Well, then let's drink."
And to me, does anybody have anything else they want to wrap up?
Darka's going to discreetly pay Hans for the drinks that he lied to Jan about promising.
Sounds good. Sir Faulkner and Freelord Warren, where are you going right now?
I'm going back to, finish the feast.
Okay.
And I'm going to hope there are rooms.
There are.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Faulkner's going to try and find out what actually just happened, because he's still really curious.
Okay, so are you going to follow them in the fire?
I might ask
Cat
people
then?
of the crowd that look like they're going to the fire cat, I might just grab them, use my persuasion, and be like, hey, what the hell?
Persuasion check, but it's actually going to be to -2 because they have seen you at they've seen you come from the old master, so they are mistrustful of you.
That's fine.
I got a 3.
Well, if I'm rolling against you, then I don't even need to re-roll that.
Yeah, you're good to
I
go.
mean, my D6 exploded, but who cares? I'm going to get at least one raise.
So they said, oh, well, some of the regulars around here, they have only been regulars for a little while. They haven't known Jan and Darkwood, and they insulted them and then demanded satisfaction, and they got what was coming to them. We all figured it was going to happen, but here it is.
I said, all right, well, that's fair enough. Sounds like you lot don't like them lot over there, huh?
No, the old master, that scum, those villains, they trample all over this place, and they steal goods and riches from everybody, and they think it's the noble thing to do. Hoarding everything over there.
I actually am very upset by that. What do you mean? What do they actually steal from people?
Well, payment for services rendered isn't always what people can afford around here.
I put my arm on his shoulder and lead him in, and I order a couple drinks and pass them to him like, tell me more. I want to know all about this.
And this is at the Firecat?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a smarts check then.
I'm not smart. Do I get my d6 when I roll smarts?
Yeah, you get your wild die still.
Okay, let's see. They both exploded. I'm a little bit smart.
Nice.
I got a 10. 10 on my smartsness.
10, yeah. Then as he's telling you the story, you realize that there are some indiscrepancies. You know, like the things that he's saying aren't necessarily adding up at the end of the day, and it gives you enough that you kind of have reason to doubt that he's telling the truth. Maybe his perception is skewed by the fact that there's just this big rivalry between the two of them.
But do I believe that there's some truth in this, that people over there are taking advantage?
You think that there are grievances between the two taverns, but you can't really tell whether, like, it gives you enough that you have to take everything this guy says with a grain of salt. Maybe there are, like, it wouldn't surprise you if the hardships of this area have made it hard for people to pay errants for their work, but you don't know that it's necessarily, like, the extortion that this guy is saying it is.
Alright, well I'm still going to go drink with those two other guys that I like.
Jan and Darkhood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah, I mean,
left.
most of the people in the Firecat ignore you, or give you sideways glances and then ignore you, but Jan and Darkhood are another story entirely.
Well, I'm sure there's a way to repair my damaged reputation. I had no idea that those were scum and villainy.
I'm sure a round of drinks wouldn't hurt.
In fact, I will announce, like, man, those guys over there just eating a mess. Just more food than I could possibly eat. They're stuffing twice as much down their gullets. You guys are like...
Trader.
Absolutely, I like the common folk way more than the rich people.
But you still think you're better
really-
than them.
You find that there's really no conversation to be found over here. At the Firecat, everybody is pretty quietly talking amongst themselves. They're really not like the same boisterous attitude that you saw at the Old Master.
Except Jan.
Yeah, Jan's a totally different story, but everybody else is pretty quiet. It actually feels a little bit sketchy over here compared to the Old Master.
I might not 100%. I may like them, but that doesn't mean I actually know how to get along with them.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. So while this is going on, all of a sudden the door of the Firecat bursts open and slams into the wall, and this woman strides through. And she is as handsome as a carved beam. She has a sturdy frame and fire in her eyes, and she says, "Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan."
It's a good thing
You
Egon's
have
not
been
here.
For an entire day, and you didn't come say hi to your sweet Rose?
Jan's kind of drunk at this point, so he kind of sloshes a drink and says, "Rose! How are you, lady?"
She comes over and she grabs you by the scruff of your shirt, and she, like, uses her body weight to leverage you on top of the table. And she says, "You better come say hi to me next time you get into town." She plants a big kiss on your face, and we fade to black.
Wait, hold on. Jan's been cheating on somebody like that? Oh, that's dangerous.
Well, he's been trying anyway. I don't know that he's been successful.
He's not been successful.
But he's been trying. That's the point.
So, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Players, thank you so much for playing. I had a ton of fun tonight. So, there were hints all throughout the session, but Denvorn is actually where we had the original playtest of the setting over on the Giant in the Playground forums. It was a play-by-post game, and Derek and Jeremy both played in that with Jan and Darkhood respectively. I let them port their characters over, and so for me, it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like playing a game on Super Nintendo with the play-by-post thing, and then coming here and being able to play it on like PS4 or something. Like it was a really nice chance to revisit the town and everything. And
To give an idea, I think we spent like 3 in-game days on the play-by-post, but it took over a year.
yeah, it's true. It was a much slower paced game.
That's how play-by-post goes.
It's true. But anyway, like I said, everyone, thanks for tuning in. And also, like I said at the beginning, be sure to check out the Nerds International Google Plus page. They've got a lot of shows, especially the Wild Eye podcast. Talks about Savage Worlds from the perspective of beginners and now experts also. So that's Nerds International, nerds with a hyphen, international. And in the meantime, go forth, errants, walk the ways marked.